you should understand the data, okay? We have the train file, the test file, sample submission, and the starter notebook. So with this starter notebook, you'll be able to make the first prediction, okay? Then, as we discussed in the competition tricks, always start with understanding the data, like data distribution. Try to visualize your data, like class imbalance, all those stuff, and do some feature pre-processing. But at least make sure that you have a baseline. In this starter notebook, you'll be able to get a baseline. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I want to open this starter notebook. Okay. Okay, you look at this starter notebook. So what you will have to do, okay, the first thing you will need to download your data. Make sure that the directories or the folder where your data are stored is where your notebook is stored as well. Okay, and even the sample submission. Okay, this is variable definition if you want to, yeah, just to understand the columns. Okay, after that, you just use this notebook and make your first prediction. At least everyone have to make the first submission because, okay, so now make sure that you have these libraries. You know, before you can use any library, you have to make sure that the library is installed. But also feel free to modify or to remove anything that you don't want. Okay, as you know, this is just to read data, to visualize data. You remember all those stuff. But always before you have to do data statistics, you remember the session we did, like to normalize the feature, to remove nuns, all those stuff, to drop some columns. Most of those things are done here in the starter notebooks. But as you want to learn and to be good, you have to try them yourself and modify everything. Okay, you see, this is like to make counts. Okay, so after, okay, let me check. But if you look here, you see we have kind of imbalance. Look, this class 0, it has many counts than the class 1. So also you have to make sure how to handle this problem. I know in the previous session we talked about that as well. And yeah, like here, like the columns that you think that they are not important, you can drop them. Yeah, it's the same. I know you guys who are good as compared to this, but just start simple and try to improve. Don't start with deep learning, start with maybe logistic regression, just simple models. Okay? Yeah. I think with this starter notebook, everyone will be able to make prediction and submission. As you see here now, it was on submission. Here it is shown how to do submission. Okay, just start simple. Use a simple model like a logistic normal classifier, but don't forget to use this predict proper instead of using predict. Okay, so maybe if Usman, you can tell them anything else. Yeah, that would be great.
So thank you very much, Gideon. Well, I just want to know how many of you have maybe take a look at the data and maybe started something, just importing the data and seeing the columns and understanding what each of the columns represents. How many? Okay. Let's have a kind of discussion. Don't just listen to what we say, what myself and Gideon say. Just interact. You can unmute and say something, so that we all know what's going on and how we can better assist.
Yeah, yeah,
Hello.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. Good afternoon. So last week
Afternoon.
I had some issues. I tried using neural networks to get my predict proper, but my prediction was in like 0.0000 to -9 something. So I don't know how can I round it up in this kind of issue whereby we have just 0.08. Our submission should be in 0.08. I don't know if. And also
You say
I have another question.
you say
I
you
also have
have
another
zero
question.
point. Wait, you say you have 0.08 and you want to round it off
No,
or
no,
what?
no, no. I said I had 0.000, like to let's say -9 standard form, 0 point
Okay, okay,
something to
okay,
minus standard form.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so of like something like if I round it up now, it might give me zero. And in this submission now, we have to get a probability in 0.08 or 0.8 thereabout. Then my
No,
second
no, no,
question
no.
is this.
Probability. Of course, let me just answer. Probability lies between 0 and 1, right? So even
Yes.
if the value of your predict proba is very, very close to 0, like to the power of -9, that's very close to 0. It still lies. It's still a predict. It's still a probability, right? Because it's between 0 and 1. So you don't have to worry about rounding it up to 0 or 1. So far, your prediction are to your prediction should be a probabilistic prediction, should lies between 0 and 1. So I don't know. Do you get the idea? So you don't have to
Yes,
worry
yes.
about how small, how close to 0 it is. So far, it still lies between 0 and 1, which should be what probability value should be, right? So it's fine. Just submit. So
Okay.
far, your submission should be in that value between 0 and 1.
Okay. Another question. The end date is 13th of September, which is on, if I'm right, which is on this week Saturday, right? On Sunday, next week Sunday. So
Sunday.
yeah, but the competition ought to last for 2 weeks, right? I don't know.
Okay, okay. Maybe we
Which
can change that to Usman. We can add another week, right?
Okay.
for
And
which
then
one?
this in
This one?
the yes, expression churn is the 13th of
Okay,
September.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. We can.
I can't make a decision because it has to go through the channel. Maybe Yabi, Arun, and Jan will talk about that. But I think it has been said that this competition will only run for maybe few days, and so that you guys will now start the Kabu competition over the weekend. So these two competitions should run for 2 weeks, right? So, but let's maybe we'll get back to that. I'll discuss with Jan and we'll see what we can do.
Okay, okay. Yeah, my next question. The data set is quite big, oh, like millions of rows. what do you what, what do you want us to do like this? Because if you want to train on millions of rows, I don't know. Google Colab will crash you. So, like you understand, I'm just speaking pidgin. So Google Colab can crash. So I don't know. What do you expect? What do you want us to do? Should we sample parts and test, and train on sample and then test on the remaining test data sets? Will it affect our model, or I don't know? Will it affect our performance if we just sample a portion of the millions of rows in the trained data set? I don't know. Gideon and Usman, please, what can we do?
Okay, so I would advise to use all the data. Yeah.
Hey, millions of
Yeah.
rows.
Yeah, let me give you the hints. Just use a simple model. If and even don't train longer. Just start simple as you improve. Don't start with maybe 2,000 iterations. No, 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 no. Just let's say if you are using maybe XGBoost, just take maybe few iterations and check how if you submit how it will the performance. Try to improve. Don't start like trying to build a big model because me I even tried to do this challenge with just with my computer. without using any collab or GCP. Yeah, just I trained it on my computer. When I used the deep learning, it took me like maybe 30 minutes or 1 hour to train. Okay, so but before using XGBoost or simple models, yeah, it was like 15 minutes, 10 minutes. So you should not worry too much. Yeah, right?
Gideon,
Yeah.
I don't use your computer as it's relative, because I know the computer, the kind of computer you are using. You are using SSD, and so
Hey,
I
so
also
I
have
mean,
similar
our
computer. And
computer,
so we are both at Ames, so we know the kind of computer we are using. So don't don't use that to judge. So of course,
don't compare your own computer with us.
so there are millions of roles, and no one will advise you. No one will advise you if you have a lot of data. No one will advise you to use only part of the data and maybe discard the rest. No, the more data, the better your model. That is a general understanding in this kind of in this field that we have. The more the data, the better the model. So one thing is, as Gideon already suggested, try simple model. And I also mentioned that the data, they are imbalanced in terms of zeros and ones. So maybe part of what you might want to try is sample each classes such that you have a balanced class. So in the end, you might not maybe use the whole data in one particular class. You understand what I'm saying? Maybe if the class 1 has more data points than class 0, then maybe you take all class 0 and sample from class 1. So in that regard, you might not use all the data set, right? But no one will advise you definitely to discard some of the data and maybe use only few data points. You understand? Just try as much as possible to do a lot of things, and note that this is just for understanding purpose. Not you are not deploying anything yet, right? So you just want to understand, but try as much as possible to try so many things, and I hope it will work.
Okay, yeah, I think my last question is this. Last week, I tried using randomized search CV on my HG model, and to be honest, it took me, I don't know, so just loading. I had to just stop it and just use normal HG. So I don't know if, and the numbers of rows we had then last week was about, I think 10,000 thereabouts. But this one now, there is millions. Should we just try normal model on it? We shouldn't do any random CV, because if you have to do maybe grid search, that one is even very computational expensive. Let's try random CV. I'm to try random CV on millions of rows. I don't know. So I don't know. What's your
Uh,
advice?
I will advise that try the random CV. When I also started in machine learning generally, I can't run a model for more than 5 minutes. I get fed up. I don't know. I don't have that patience. You understand, to run model for like 5 minutes. I will say, what is going on? You understand? So because initially when I started using Python, I was accustomed with numerical programming. You program mathematical things. You understand? So for mathematics, you just write a bunch of functions, classes, and you pass the argument, and that's it. But when it comes to machine learning now, I have to run models for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I never had that kind of patience initially, but I learned to adapt. That sometimes you might even run models for months, right? Some people working in Google or Facebook, they run models for months, right? So you have to, and at some point, maybe now as a learner, you have your computer spec don't the kind of resources you have cannot run that kind of model. So but you work at some point in maybe big company, and you'll be provided maybe supercomputers. So you have to know different kinds of research, because now you have the resources. So don't just limit yourself on maybe simple models because of your computer. Also work your computer to be able, because by working your computer, you also know that these kind of things exist. Because if you don't try to find different kind of search method now, and only settle for the little, when you actually need it, you might not even think towards that side. You also want to settle for that little thing, you understand? So try as much as possible to try collab. Of course, collab also has the amount of resources you can use per day. If you overuse the resources, it will just say no, I can't go ahead, maybe something error or something. So but try as much as possible, don't limit yourself. Of course, Gideon has his spec, his computer spec is at least average, can run this kind of model, also mine. But for you now, maybe if you don't have that kind of resources, just try collab. At least it gives you some amount per day, and just work it out somehow, and maybe you get good results depending on the kind of resources you have for now.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other question?
Okay, someone was asking your spec and your computer spec.
So, okay.
I know it's SSD and 16 gig RAM, right? I know it's 16, mine is 16 gig RAM, so
yeah,
I think
even
yours
mine.
also it could be 16 gig RAMs and it's SSD and maybe
I,
1 terabyte. Mine is 1 terabyte. I don't know if yours also is 1
yeah,
terabyte.
F generation and i7. So, but that's not a big deal. So, but you guys, what I want to tell you, with this kind of competition, when you are good, you can be making money at the weekend. Because if you join a competition like hackathon, at the weekend you can even make $1,000. Because me and my roommate, we just did the competition, and at the weekend we made like more than $2,000 just weekend. Imagine, machine learning is beautiful. Imagine you can be sitting at your home and just train model, make submissions, and make money. So that's why I want everyone at least to make submission. You are not competing. If you don't win this hackathon, it's fine. That's why the main purpose of this hackathon is just to get knowledge. Make sure you understand everything that you tried. I know for the first time, but maybe for the fourth competition, you will be joining Zindi competition. You will see some of you guys will make money from their competitions. You know, Usman, the problem is time, but if you invest your time in competition, you can make even like every month making maybe $4,000. Yeah, you can do it. Let's say,
Wow. Yeah. That's true. Gideon is trying to motivate you guys with money. Well, I won't totally agree with that. But try as much as possible to on that. The most important thing is the knowledge. Don't let Gideon push you towards the money side. Of course, money is important because
Money is
I'm also in
important too.
Nigeria, and Nigerians as a Nigerian, we also like money so much. So,
What
but
is
of course,
bringing
it's a good
yes, man,
motivation.
yes, man. Even the
Yeah.
professor needs 1 million right now. So I
I'm ready.
So you see a
Money is
lot
the
of
point.
so guys,
a lot of dollars that
yeah,
Gideon is telling you now. That's why we have
yeah,
to run after him every time when we need something from him. We have to run after him every time. So don't always just let money motivate you guys. But money is also very important, of course, because you need
yeah,
a lot of resources to run this kind of thing, right? You need maybe good
so
computers and
you
so on.
know,
So you also
yeah,
need money to run all those things, right? So,
exactly.
but of course, you need the kind of knowledge too. You need to ground your knowledge very well in order to compete. And as Gideon already said, if you compete a lot on this platform, Zindi, Kagu, you also gain the knowledge because you are out in the ocean and you have to find your way
Yeah,
to be on top, to be afloat, right? So this is also very important. And one other thing is. Sometimes it's you get fed up when you submit and you always see yourself in maybe in page 2. You know, in Zindi competition, you have to load the page 1, page 2 in order to even see your position on the leaderboard. So don't be discouraged with all these kind of things. At some point also you also see yourself at the top and keep pushing, and one time you get there. For me, I hardly compete unlike Gideon because I have so many projects also here that I'm doing. So, and competition it takes a lot of your time. You think a lot about tuning model. So, and I also have separate thoughts also for myself because I have a lot of projects at hand here. So I ad lib compete. Of course, the money is good, but you know, sometimes when you don't, you have to put in a lot of work in order to get to that top. So
Yeah,
that's so.
Yeah. So guys,
So one thing is please,
yeah,
say something.
no, I just wanted to tell you about the joke. So Gideon and Usman and all the team and the family, actually, as we are talking about money, so do you know the financial market? The the financial market. So I'm as a data scientist, I was like thinking, how can we actually, if we succeed in predicting the direction of the market right now, I think we have the control on the money thing.
yeah,
Because I'm thinking about this since a long time now. I have been searching for some model on Kaggle. I saw some of them, but they are not, yeah, they are not like performing good. I try to make some prediction with them, but it's it make me just lose money. So now I think maybe you guys can think about with me. So the way we can just take some data from the market and just train some model. I don't know, whatever. Maybe if I'm alone, I will not do anything. But if then we are all thinking about how to make, for example, $10,000 in 1 month,
I can't hear you. Is it my network or your network?
yeah, his network is not going well. But I think he was saying how to make money maybe in like $1,000 a month, right? Or maybe $10,000 a month. Yeah, we can't hear
So,
you at
one thing I will also advise learners is that, of course, participating in this competition is a very good start for you to gain a lot of ground in your knowledge and so on. And also think towards working on the kind of project that will help people, you understand? Like currently, I'm already thinking about a kind of project, maybe a software kind of thing that I will develop that will help a lot of Africans, you understand? So you can also think in this kind of direction. But before you can do that, you have to gain this kind a lot of knowledge around a lot of things in order to build your own stuff, right? You understand what I'm saying? So but of course, before we, because time is already going, let's try as much as possible to compete well in this competition. It's an individual thing, no group. So, but for the cargo, I think that one will be in group. But this one is individual. So try as much, and we are all available to assist if you have any kind of. And also, you can make suggestion, whatever you want us to cover in the next tutorials, maybe tomorrow, Wednesday, whatever you don't understand well, we'll try as much as possible to cover it and discuss it together. You understand? So, because I don't really like the idea of having SG boosts every week, how to tune SG boosts. Model doesn't rally around SG boosts alone. Of course, there is a lot of we've seen that SG boosts won a lot of cargo competition and so on. But that's not the only model that there is, right? There's a whole lot of models there. And you guys are still learning the statistical machine learning models for now. There's still a lot of oceans of deep learning models out there that if you want to learn, there's we can do that. But for now, just ground yourself in the machine learning, statistical machine learning models. So if there's any question, we can always continue on Slack, and you can also suggest topics that we can do. We can discuss in the next tutorials. Not necessarily how to tune SG boosts, how to do all those kind of things. That you've learned so many times. Understanding data itself is a whole lot of knowledge on its own. Like last week, some of you might not know what multi-label classification problem is. You understand? So instead of building separate classification model for each column, like the last week competition, each product building different class. There's something called multi-level classification algorithm that some of these machine learning models also deal with. So trying to understand the data, drawing insights from the data is a whole lot of knowledge on its own. You understand what I'm saying? How to data transformation and so many things. So understanding the data on its own is a big deal. Then building model building is very easy. You just select a model and you do grid search, you tune parameter, and that's it. And parameter tuning, most times you don't have control over parameter tuning, right? It's the model itself that tune itself and maybe give you a better result. You only tweak parameter tuning is just like a try and error. You understand? But understanding the data itself is not necessarily try and error thing. You understand? Of course, you build different different data transformation, but if you understand it well, maybe in different different field, in different domain, how do I transform this data? Maybe data coming from finance, data coming medical data. How do I, like, different domains have their different kind of understanding their data, you understand, and how you can transform it. This is a very big knowledge rather than selecting algorithm and tuning model. So this is very important. So that is why most people don't even look at data visualization. From data visualization, you can get a lot of things before actually the actual modeling part, you understand. So try as much as possible to understand the data. It might take you a while to understand the data itself and tweak it to the best to your best knowledge before actually doing the modeling part. So this is very important, and I wish you guys all the best. And always ask questions.
Hello,
if
hello.
anything is not clear. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Please, I have
Yes,
a
I can hear
question.
you.
Concerning feature engineering, I don't know. Last week I had issues with feature engineering. Like, I don't know. Are there packages that can actually select features from data sets? Because I tried, like last week, I tried to get the day that the participant joined, the month, I think also the year too. And I used it to train my model, but the result I was getting was not really that okay. So I don't know. Maybe we talk more on feature engineering, like, and also the domain knowledge too. I tried to research about insurance and stuff like that, but most of the knowledge I was getting, I couldn't really apply it to that competition that we did last week. So I don't know if Gedeon Usman can just talk about feature engineering and how they go about, when you see a data set, the features that will actually work. Are there packages, or do you work with intention or something like that? I don't know. Thank you.
Maybe we can talk about it more maybe in the next tutorial, but generally you have to measure correlation, like each feature, how it correlates with the target. I think this is the first, like, and the easiest measure that you can do, like measure how each feature correlates with the target. And always you can drop the feature that does not correlate with the target. I think that's the easiest way, but there are a lot of feature selection techniques, and even in sklearn, there is SK feature selection. Yeah, you can even use, but it takes time because they had to go through the data and measure like a lot of measurements, like how correlation between those features and the target to give you like the most important features. Yeah, it takes time, but it works. But I think you need to measure correlation, and there are other algorithms to do feature selection. There is what we call forward pass, backward pass. Yeah, there are a lot.
Yeah, this is a very good topic suggested by Ido, and Gideon already said like a very summarized thing about it. So one thing is we include this definitely in one of our tutorials, hopefully tomorrow, so that you guys can get a bit of maybe understanding about. But let me tell you, I'm not guaranteeing anything. Feature engineering should be like a full course in a university on its own, because it's a science on its own. You understand? So it's a big thing. There is no one way to doing feature engineering. There is no one way in a particular domain to doing feature engineering. So it's a whole lot of discipline on its own. But maybe we try as much as possible to discuss more about it in the next tutorial. Maybe we fix tomorrow as another tutorial. So tomorrow tutorial
Okay,
might be
thank
on
you
feature
very much.
engineering. So if you have any other thing to suggest, so we can fix other days also for different topics. So that is that on feature engineering. So bear with us. Of course, I also have to go back again and read more about feature engineering, apart from the little I already know. So maybe tomorrow we discuss more about feature engineering.
And also those who are not able to make the first submission, yeah, make sure to ping in, to just post on Slack, or yeah, because we want at least to use this competition to be sure that everyone can make submission, he understand competition, and like no one who would stay at the low level. Yeah. Okay.
So is there any other thing before we end the session now? So don't forget to do something and make a submission. A very simple model, not necessarily doing a lot of feature transformation or feature engineering. Just few things and make submission. So you know how you can improve on it when you see your score on the leaderboard. So any other question before we end it? Okay, nothing. Thank you very much, everyone, and see you on Slack. And we continue the tutorial tomorrow, hopefully. So, bye for now.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.